All right, let's jump right in today. We're going deep into the world of AI music. You guys sent us some stuff about Ríki Snjósins, The Realm of Snow, and
Right. Yeah.
it looks really, really cool.
This album is amazing.
So let's dive in.
Yeah, so it's by an artist called Fljúgandi, which means flying light in Icelandic, and it's kind of perfect given the music.
Okay, Flying Light.
Flying light. It's this like indie folk ambient sound, all generated by artificial intelligence.
AI-generated music exploring Icelandic nature and folklore. Wow. So where do we even start with something like this?
Yeah, well, each track on the album kind of tells a story, like chapters in a sonic journey through Iceland.
Oh, I like that.
It starts with 𝗬𝗧𝗧 and the midnight sun. And you can almost you can really feel that endless daylight of an Icelandic summer, full of life, new beginnings. The AI even created these breathy, almost fragile falsetto vocals.
And there's a sort of subtle autotune effect, which I wouldn't normally think of with folk music. But it works. It kind of gives it this modern, almost otherworldly feel.
Yeah, it's like the AI is hinting at the fact that this isn't your typical folk album, right? It's blending genres, weaving in experimental ambient elements, just like Iceland itself blends these dramatic landscapes. But it's also a modern society.
Okay, so we're bathed in the midnight sun. What happens next in this journey?
So as the album moves on, that summer warmth starts to kind of fade. We enter 𝗬𝗧𗧃, midnight snowfall, and the mood completely shifts. The music gets all hushed and contemplative, reflecting that quiet solitude of a world, blanketed in snow.
Wow. It's like the AI understands how light and the seasons play such a huge role in shaping the whole Icelandic experience.
Right.
But Iceland isn't all quiet snow. There's a wild side to it, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the album captures that perfectly with 𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗔𝗡, which means the black sand beaches. And it evokes this raw power of Iceland's volcanic landscapes, those stretches of black sand formed by, ancient eruptions. And there's this kind of windswept, almost ethereal quality to the music that just brings it all to life.
Okay, so sunlight to snowfall to black sand beaches. Where does the AI take us next?
Well, the album then goes into this amazing contrast between Frostfoot lava pools and Norðurfjörður, northern seas. And you have this warmth of the geothermal pools, almost steaming with creative energy, set against this vast, chilling expanse of the ocean.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful juxtaposition.
It's like those two forces, fire and water, which are so important to Iceland's landscape, are reflected in the music. It's more than just a pretty soundscape, though, right? There's got to be a deeper meaning here.
Exactly. Frostfoot in particular is really fascinating because it plays with this whole idea of creation and destruction. Volcanic activity, it can be both life-giving and devastating, right? And it kind of mirrors the creative process itself, this constant cycle of building and breaking down, which I think is really clever.
I love that you picked up on that. It makes me think about how the AI might be drawing these parallels between the natural world and the human experience,
That's what's so cool with this album. It's not just a bunch of songs. It's like a meditation on Iceland itself, its land, its culture, the spirit of its people.
And speaking of that Icelandic spirit, the next few tracks really highlight that, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Like Vindblæsing Klettir, Windswept Cliffs, immediately comes to mind. It just embodies this incredible resilience, standing strong against the elements. And then there's Jökulsmenning, Glacier's Memory, and it has this really haunting beauty, like the weight of the past frozen in time.
It's like the AI is reminding us that Iceland's landscape is more than just scenery. It's a living, breathing archive of history and memory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even in those seemingly harsh landscapes, life finds a way to flourish.
Yeah.
Like the album takes us into the Birkiskógur birch forests, and there's this quiet vibrancy beneath the snow. It's such a beautiful contrast to those more dramatic landscapes we've encountered so far.
Reminds me of the saying, there's beauty in everything, just not everyone sees it.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the Icelandic horses. I mean, come on, who doesn't love those majestic creatures?
I know, right.
And the album pays tribute to them with Íslensk hestar, Icelandic horses.
Yeah.
And the music perfectly captures that spirit, that freedom, strength, and grace as they just run through these open plains.
Yeah, totally.
Makes me wonder if the AI somehow studied their movements, the way they interact with the landscape.
It's definitely possible. The AI seems to have this uncanny ability to capture the essence of things and translate them into music. And it gets even more intriguing when the album goes into the realm of Icelandic folklore, you know?
Oh, you're talking about Troll í Íslenskum djadasugum, the trolls of Icelandic folklore.
Yes.
Okay, now things are getting really interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
These songs, they're like sonic tapestries woven from like ancient myths and legends. You can almost hear the trolls lumbering through the mountains, their presence echoing in those, deep resonant tones.
So we've gone from the natural wonders of Iceland to the mythical creatures that inhabit its folklore.
Right.
What other surprises does this album have in store?
Well, next we kind of delve into this more mystical side of Icelandic culture with Rímur Söngur, Rímur chant.
Okay, I gotta admit, Rímur chant, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, okay.
Can you tell me more about that?
So Rímur is this traditional Icelandic form of epic poetry, often chanted or sung, and has been around for centuries. It often deals with like heroic tales and mythology. And the fact that the AI put this into the album is really remarkable.
It's like the AI is showing us it understands the depth of Icelandic culture, not just the surface. It's weaving together so many different threads.
Yeah.
But Iceland is also known for its dramatic volcanic activity, right?
Oh, yeah.
Does that make its way into the album?
Oh, absolutely. The album features a track called 𝗧𗕧𝗓𝗓, Volcanic Fury. And it's as powerful as you might imagine.
Oh, I bet it's intense.
It is. It's like raw, untamed energy. You can practically feel the earth shaking, the molten lava flowing. It captures that, overwhelming force of nature that Icelanders have learned to live with for centuries.
So we've experienced creation and destruction, resilience and wonder, and now volcanic fury.
Yeah.
What an emotional roller coaster. But even after an eruption, life finds a way, right?
That's exactly what the album explores next. After the eruption, we get Mosi Ahroni, Moss on Lava. It's this really quiet, almost meditative piece that speaks to the resilience of nature. Life slowly returning, even to the most barren landscapes. It's a message of hope and renewal. And that's the beauty of Iceland. Even amidst all that fire and ice, there's this delicate balance, this constant cycle of destruction and rebirth. It's like woven into the landscape. And this album, it captures that spirit so well.
It makes me think about how the AI might not just be mimicking Icelandic music,
Right.
but actually channeling something deeper, something about the essence of the place itself.
That's an interesting thought. Like the AI is acting as a translator, helping us understand a different way of seeing the world.
Speaking of translation, one thing that's been on my mind is the use of Icelandic, throughout the album. I don't understand a word of it, but the sound of the language is just mesmerizing. What role do you think it plays in the whole experience?
It's crucial, actually. Icelandic is a language that's so deeply rooted in the land, in the place itself. It's evolved over centuries, shaped by volcanoes, glaciers, and those long, dark winters. There's a depth and a musicality to it that's almost impossible to translate.
So it's not just about the meaning of the words, but the sound, the texture of the language itself.
Exactly. It adds another layer of authenticity to the album,
Yeah.
Like we're hearing Iceland through Icelandic ears. It's like the AI is saying, this is how Iceland sings its own story.
That's brilliant. And it raises some interesting questions about the role AI could play in, preserving and celebrating endangered languages around the world,
Oh, absolutely. Imagine AI helping to revitalize languages that are almost disappearing, creating music that captures their unique sounds, their rhythms. It could be a powerful tool for cultural preservation.
And not just preservation, but connecting people across cultures. Imagine listening to an album that captures the spirit of the Amazon rainforest, sung in an indigenous language. It could open up whole new worlds of understanding.
Absolutely. It's like AI could become this bridge between cultures, helping us appreciate the diversity and the richness of human expression. And it's not even limited to just existing cultures.
You mean AI could help us create entirely new forms of art and music?
Yeah, think about it. Hybrid genres, blending musical traditions from all over the world, or even completely new musical languages that we haven't even imagined yet.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing. The possibilities are really endless.
This is starting to feel like a glimpse into the future of music, a future where AI empowers us to connect with culture and creativity in ways we never even dreamed of.
In a future where those connections can transcend borders, languages, even time itself. But before we get too carried away with the future, let's bring it back to Ríki Snjósins for a minute.
Yeah.
What are some key takeaways you'd want listeners to have about this particular album?
I think the biggest takeaway is that this album is a testament to the power of collaboration
Yeah.
between humans and AI, you know? It's not about one replacing the other, but about finding ways to work together to create something really special.
It challenges those like preconceived notions about what constitutes art, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it any less valid or meaningful? Because an AI was involved in the creative process. I think Ríki's 𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗔𝗡𝗞𝗔 proves that it can be just as evocative, thought-provoking as any, human-created work of art.
It's a reminder that creativity can come from some unexpected places.
Right.
And we should be open to exploring all those possibilities. What else stands out to you?
I think it's also important to emphasize how the album celebrates Icelandic cultural heritage. It doesn't shy away from embracing the language, the folklore, the mythology. It weaves those elements into the very fabric of the music.
And in doing so, it invites us to not just experience like the beauty of Iceland,
Right.
but also to appreciate the depth and richness of its culture.
Exactly. It's a powerful message about the importance of valuing and protecting cultural diversity around the world.
Okay, I have one more question before we move on.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about Iceland that makes it such fertile ground for this kind of artistic exploration? Why Iceland, of all places?
That's a great question. I think there are a few reasons. First, Iceland's natural landscape is simply extraordinary. It's a land of extremes, fire and ice, towering mountains, and vast glaciers. There's a sense of raw power and untamed beauty that's both awe-inspiring and a little intimidating.
You can definitely feel that sense of awe and wonder in the music of Ríki Snjósins.
And then there's the culture itself. Iceland has this rich and vibrant history, so deeply rooted in folklore, mythology, storytelling. These stories have been passed down through generations, and they've shaped the Icelandic people's understanding of the world. There's a sense of mystery and magic that just permeates the culture, making it a perfect setting for exploring themes of nature, spirituality, and the human condition.
It's like Iceland is a portal to another world.
Right.
A world where ancient myths and legends still hold sway.
And finally, I think there's something about the Icelandic people themselves that makes them particularly receptive to new ideas and new forms of artistic expression. They're a resilient and creative people who have learned to adapt to a really challenging environment.
So they're not afraid to push boundaries and explore new territories,
Yeah.
both physically and creatively.
Exactly. And I think that spirit of adventure is reflected in Ríki Snjósins. It's an album that takes risks, it blends genres, and it uses technology in innovative ways. It's a true testament to the Icelandic spirit of creativity and innovation.
We've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into Ríki Snjósins. We've talked about the music, the lyrics, the cultural context, and even the implications for the future of art. But there's one more piece of the puzzle we haven't explored yet. The impact this album is having on listeners. What are people saying about it? How are they connecting with it? Let's dive into that right now. It sounds like Ríki Snjósins is more than just an album. It's like a whole experience. Have you gotten a sense of how people are reacting to this unique blend of music and AI and Icelandic culture?
The response has been really fascinating. People are using words like haunting, ethereal, even transcendent to describe the music.
Those are powerful words. What aspects of the album do you think are resonating so strongly with listeners?
A lot of people are saying, the album creates a sense of place, like they're actually being transported to the landscapes of Iceland. We talked about how the AI captured that sense of fire and ice. Well, it seems to be translating directly to the listener's experience.
It's like the AI is giving people a sonic postcard from Iceland, even if they've never actually been there.
Exactly. And for those who have visited Iceland, a lot of them are saying that the music, evokes memories and emotions connected to their own experiences.
I can see how music would be a powerful trigger for those kinds of memories.
Right.
It's interesting, though. The AI aspect might make the music feel less personal, but it seems to be having the opposite effect.
It is a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think the AI element is kind of adding to the intrigue. People are just fascinated by the idea that an AI could create music that's so emotionally resonant and culturally evocative.
Yeah.
Makes you question what creativity really is.
One comment that really stood out to me was from a listener who said listening to Ríki Snjósins made them feel more connected to nature.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
It's remarkable how AI, something we often associate with technology and artificiality, can actually bring us closer to something as fundamental as our relationship with the natural world.
It's like the AI is helping us to see nature with fresh eyes, hear it with new ears.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here?
Or-
What does the success of 𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 tell us about the future of music and AI?
I think it's a sign of exciting things to come.
Mhm.
We're really just scratching the surface of what's possible when you combine human creativity with the power of AI.
Do you think we could see like a whole new genre of music? AI-generated world music, maybe?
Oh, it's definitely possible. I can imagine AI being used to create music that blends all these different cultural influences, or even to generate entirely new musical forms that we haven't even thought of yet.
Wow.
It's like opening a door to a whole new universe of sound.
And what about the role of human musicians in all of this? Are we headed towards a world where AI replaces, human composers and performers?
I don't think so. I see AI more as a collaborator, a tool that can enhance and expand human creativity.
Mm.
Imagine musicians using AI to explore new sounds, to break down those creative barriers, or even just to connect with audiences in new ways. It's about partnership, not replacement.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into 𝗧𝗧𗔧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧, what would you say is the most important thing for listeners to take away from this experience?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is changing the landscape of art in really profound ways. It's pushing us to rethink what's possible, to challenge those assumptions about creativity.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's still about connecting with something deeper, something that speaks to our shared humanity.
It sounds like 𝗧𝗧𗔧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 is more than just an album. It's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
It's making us think about the role of technology in our lives, the power of music, and the importance of preserving and celebrating our cultural heritage.
And hopefully it's inspiring listeners to go out and explore the world with a renewed sense of curiosity and wonder.
Well said. I know I'm feeling inspired. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the fascinating world of 𝗧𝗧𗔧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧. Keep exploring.